Okay, Vanguard brought it up. I missed this somehow. I usually catch their streams. And so otherwise I would have been in their chat saying shit because I've been on Vanguard 3 times, I think, currently, and they've been really great in terms of showing some interest in this project and helping it get some attention. As you know, a lot of TYT refugees are over there who are now former TYT fans or Vanguard fans now. Let's just refresh. It was at 6.8K in views, just out of curiosity. 23K in 5 hours. Good for you. So let's start the video. Probably get an ad. These fucking ads. I just wish they were more predictable so they wouldn't. Okay, great. Okay, so they start with the guy bringing it up right away. That's good. Their thumbnail is so funny. Okay.
Rails against firing people when you rejected a union at your company and fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. You can say that if you like.
That is true. Look it up.
Fine. So since you
boom,
let's explain.
That guy watches the Vanguard.
Democrats and Republicans agree on economic issues.
Nice.
Also, shout out to AC Poll. Hey guys, I agree with you on Culkin. You see Cenk's trailer on Jubilee. He's getting cooked for union busting, then catching feelings from the jump. Zach, should we take a quick look at this? It got posted on Twitter a second ago.
100%. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Shout out to you, AC Poll. Thanks for letting us know.
I was watching the stream and I would have, but I did cut it. I don't necessarily catch every minute, but I generally kind of, yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's see what
know about that. Really glad that we're going to have the opportunity to react to this because Zach and I are going to be out of town. We'll probably still be able to go live a couple times at least, but yeah, this is good to react to real quick.
We've tried establishment Democrats, complete failures. We've tried establishment Republicans, complete failures. We tried fake populism under Donald Trump, complete failure.
I disagree.
So the only thing we haven't tried is left-wing populism. And you say, don't try it. Go back to the establishment Democrats. Are you crazy?
You can't vote Democrat and then say that, well, because they still support the rich and the rich still get all the tax cuts, I'm still going to cast my vote, which is the most powerful political weapon you have, to the very establishment that you're on one hand trying to tear down.
That's just weird to mention guardrails against firing people when you rejected a union at your company and fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. You can say that if you like.
That is true. Look it up.
Fine. So since you
boom,
let's explain. Claim
that guy watches the Vanguard.
Democrats and Republicans agree on economic issues and try to divide us and distract us with culture wars. Democrats don't want to pass their agenda. It's a marketing ploy, not a mission. The Republicans only care about the rich and everything.
Cenk knows a lot about marketing ploys. Okay, well, that's for sure. Trust me. Take it from me. I worked there off and on between 2013 and 2020. Trust me.
Everything else is a mirage. Media and money control all of politics. Hi, I'm Cenk. I'm host of the Young Turks. I'm also founder of Just Democrats Wolfpack and Rebellion Pack, where we're trying to bring the country together. And
Rebellion Pack was originally named Cenk for America. You can find the change of name forms on the FEC website. And Cenk for Congress. I'm sorry. Rebellion Pack. The pack that he used to run for Congress became Rebellion Pack.
And here I am surrounded by 20 Democrats and Republicans, and I'm going to try to bring them together.
LOL. It doesn't seem nearly as unhinged as the Mehdi Hassan Jubilee. I didn't see anyone be like, go back to fucking Turkey, you fucking immigrant, or anything like that. So I'm glad to see that. But it is pretty funny to hear Cenk called out on the union busting thing. Obviously, it's crazy that Cenk keeps lying about that and gaslighting people. You can literally look it up. There are literal articles written about this. You don't even have to rely on the Vanguard. You don't even have to rely on Hank, who fucking used to work for Cenk and is making an entire documentary about this. You can literally read actual articles that outline this in scrupulous fashion. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, let's just try it out. This guy says, Google it. Let's Google Cenk Uyghur Union busting. Right.
There's a Politico article inside the union. That's a great article. It's genuinely fucking It's honestly terrifying if you read this article to realize just how intense and aggressively anti-union Cenk was.
Yep. So progressive firebrand Cenk Uyghur, the CEO, put intense pressure on staffers not to unionize. So we'll go ahead and link to this in the chat. You guys already know if you're listening to this show, but apparently that guy does too. And that's the contribution we've made to the internet, everybody. The Vanguard is known for one thing, and that's taking down the Young Turks.
Yep, 100%. And in addition to reading that article, you guys should definitely check out the first part of Tell the Truth, Cenk, which is a documentary edited and directed by our friend Hank, who's often in the chat. Winners and Losers is his name in chat. And that documentary, you know, maybe you don't like Politico, you know, it's an establishment rag or something. Hank literally lived this, and his documentary includes some just insane examples of behind the scenes union busting and attempted union busting. Luckily, eventually the union, you know, succeeded, but not without Cenk trying everything in his power to stop it.
Yeah, and here's a clear example right here. In another email, Uyghur sent to staffers before their vote began, right? So this is manipulating people and intimidating them before they cast a union vote. This week, he again urged his employees to vote no, using arguments that several staffers characterized as typical anti-union talking points often deployed by Republicans. Right. And then he says there's no magic that creates more money by having a union, especially at a company that does not yet.
Well, classifying your employee as an independent contractor or as an employee who is called part-time, that's a great way to create some magic money. That's a great way to squeeze a little extra blood out of the rock. You saw these numbers. One of these up here, these fucking tall, stupid articles. Like thousands of dollars. That's just day off. 20 days unpaid. Like $3,400. Where's my money? I consider that my money. I earned that money.
Make a profit. This is after Cenk had accepted.
I hope Cenk spent it on PlayStation 5 controllers. They're like $75. I bet he got a lot of them.
Over $20 million in fundraising. Okay. I believe it was like a Series A, right? It was official venture capital funding. It was led by Jeffrey Katzenberg. You guys can read all about it. He had that insane cash infusion. And what he wanted to do was instead spend that money not on taking care of his employees, not on making, you know, contracted employees, full-time employees, not by giving people better health insurance, not by expanding what he could offer his employees, but so that he could invest it all in YouTube TV and upgrading the way that they broadcast and having his fingers in more honeypots that would fucking disappear and, go down the drain.
100%. Well, I'm glad we were able to react to that. I'm down to, wrap this up so we can cut the clip, get that out before anyone else does. But
Absolutely.
Got a couple more super chats to get
so
through real
fast
quick.
on
Shout out
that
to
shit.
UAC Poll.
Yep. Hey guys, agree with you on Culkin. Oh wait, and
That's
yeah,
what
we've
it is. So let's
reacted.
just
to it.
watch
So
a
shout
little
out
bit
to
more,
you.
see
And
what
one
they
more,
get
you said
into.
Cabela's for the win.
Is Eric that
My
flush?
They
I mean,
really
like,
went
before-
quick. I think they
okay,
used Da
minute two.
Vinci. I gotta
What
teach
is
him a
okay?
couple.
That-
Not that it would have saved it. Okay, they just included that. Yeah. I'm going to start making tutorials and stuff too as part of my effort to try to pull myself together enough to be able to live on my own. It's also not. This stuff is stressful for me. My beard fell out. I know I say that a lot, but I've been in a very difficult and hard, challenging mental environment. I've been very fortunate to have a roommate that's been super patient, but I can't, and a little bit of help from my dad in terms of helping me get some food money. But it's a bad time for me. It's not like if Cenk ever does talk about my situation or something, he'll probably try to make it seem like I'm doing this for the cash or for the money. And I can absolutely unavail you of that notion. This is a quest for justice. The guy lied about me. The guy lied to his audience about my friends. The guy disrespected every single person who he has spoken to. And now, as we've seen, it looks like he's going to lie to every single person in the Jubilee audience too. He's probably going to parse out the firing somebody for the unionizing thing, because he can claim, because they make some case in these Times article that it was about the person's workplace abuses, but these types of things work like that. He's not just going to tell Hamilton Nolan that he did it because the guy was part of the union busting campaign. If that was the case, why wait till the morning after the election loss to fire the person from the bargaining unit, from the union organizing group? Everybody knows how intimidating that is. And then they continue to do the union busting for another month after he lost the campaign. It's all detailed in the documentary, which you should absolutely go watch. It's very good.
On February 12, 2020, a group of workers at the Young Turks came forward with a union.
This Twitter page pops up out of nowhere,
Little
right?
bird.
And it's TYT Union.
They'd used card check, an election process in which 50%, if 50, little help, Bernie.
See, it's fun. When is a documentarian voice guy messes up in the first 17 seconds. That's kind of a fun way to do a documentary, don't you think? Like, why would you use that take? Because we had Bernie flying in. Bernie's on the genocide stuff is driving me nuts. Come on, Bernie, fucking coward. The hell, man.
50% of workers in a bargaining unit plus one sign a card saying they want to join a union, they will have a union. End of discussion. End of discussion.
End of discussion.
Fine. End of relationship.
After 9 days of silence, the company formally rejected voluntary recognition, saying they were prepared to voluntarily recognize the union, but only after a second election was conducted on terms more favorable to the company. While they wanted people to believe they were protecting the democratic will of the workers, it was in fact, as labor journalist Sarah Jones pointed out, classic union busting. Their statement was, put another way, total
Bullshit.
What followed was a period of union busting that seemed right out of the union busting playbook. Every single tactic was a tried and true technique for disrupting solidarity, save one: publicly smearing the workers' integrity, intelligence, and motivations by accusing them of being in a conspiracy with Cenk Uyghur's political opponent. I didn't misspeak. They accused their own work.
Should I have made his tongue wiggle? I made his eyes move, but I could have made his tongue wiggle. I think that would have been distracting. See, Ken Burns and Michael Moore and I must make these kinds of decisions with our flims.
Workers of being part of a plot to disrupt Cenk Uygur's political ambitions. What makes this unique is that most CEOs desperate...
Literally no reason why Rubin Report, I focus on it, other than it's just random and funny. But I'm in that picture. That's me. Like that little, all that pacing is very deliberate, obviously. Everything's deliberate. Here's one frame. Which button does one frame? God damn it. There we go. That's Anna Kasparian on the Nomiki Konst interview. It's fascinating. She air quotes the phrase union busting. Yeah, see, there's me, that YouTube space, LA. That's why I was much thinner back then, and I always hated how I looked, and then I'd see photos of myself back then, and I go, man, I could have gotten laid so much more. What the fuck? Yeah, look at me now. God damn it, I look like something that divers find at the bottom of a river. That's how I'm feeling these days. I really got to get it together, but yeah.
What makes this unique is that most CEOs desperate to avoid a union are not talk show host politicians like Cenk Uygur. So this tactic stands out and is the subject of this video. The other tactics, all documented in these 4 articles, none of which the company has refuted, might seem so familiar because, as NLRB filings would later reveal, the Young Turks hired 2 anti-worker management-side law and consultancy firms. Since the home of progressives is largely member-funded, it stands to reason that the audience deserves to know how much they spent on union busting, if any. How much member money did TYT send to these anti-worker law firms? Do they even have a right to know? Perhaps not. Shh. Best not talk about it. 18 months later, Cenk Uygur described his own union busting as merely a bumpy start.
Our relationship got off to a bumpy start in the beginning.
So the joke there, the finger with the dishonesty horn, that's my Hank, the blue shirt, the hand. You see the character. I'm wondering if anybody's ever noticed that I have to have the most monstrous hand to hold a can like that and have the finger come on. Like I Ken Burns, Michael Moore, Werner Herzog, and somebody. We all know what it's like, me and all those other filmmakers. The finger just, and it does push the yellow button down, by the way.
He almost succeeded in denying his workers, the very people on whose time, talent, and labor his career is built, their right to collectively organize. But after a tense few months, a second
That's
election
from the Politico article. They called it surprisingly brutal campaign. That's what Zac was referring to.
was held, and bravo, a new union was born. After 18 months of negotiation, a contract was ratified. The union was official.
We'll stop soon.
Congratulations to my friends and comrades. Time for coffee cake.
I really want to revamp this little animation. I think it's fine. It's kind of cute. There's no reason to have the squirrel. I did draw the squirrel and animate the squirrel. It's made out of rectangles. I thought it'd just be kind of fun to have like we're distracted by the coffee cake, or we're distracted by our celebration, and yet a local woodland animal is making the most of the opportunity by us being distracted. So like the elbows are a little wonky in the animation, but I put so many, there's like a whole sequence in the second part, the middle 38 minutes with Jimmy Dore and Cenk that took me like a month, almost over a month to make. It's like the same fucking 3-minute chunk that, it's so much time went into this. Okay, I'll pause
Hi.
this. That's me. That's Jimmy. That's Steve. That guy. His name is Steve. This was when TYT was at the current TV studio, which is like the 2013, 2014 time when I worked there. And I was also there for the transition to the studio after that. So yeah, that's me. I just remember.
I'm Hank. I worked at TYT as well.
That's me on the post-game show with Malcolm.
Hi, I'm Hank. I worked at TYT.
Steve and Malcolm. I normally did it with Dave. Dave and I were close pals. Miss you, Dave. Your silence is fucking humiliating, Dave. You should speak up. You know exactly what happened. But I do miss Dave. I love Dave. Great guy. I really like Dave a lot, actually. He's one of the bright spots about my trip, my time in LA. And I really had a lot of fun doing it with him because he was such a square. And him being uncomfortable was very funny. And a good foil for my, or whatever the fuck. I can be kind of annoying. People find me like, look how handsome I was. Look at that perfect skull. Just a great skull. God damn it.
As well as for the Jimmy Dore show in
That's
various
Jimmy Dore's hand. That's Jimmy Dore's studio right there.
iterations over the years.
The joke there is I'm pulling something out of my belly button and smelling it. Let's watch.
I worked at TYT as well as for the Jimmy Dore
We'll go frame by frame. Yeah, you see it happens very fast because I had my hand under my hoodie. See? I remember when we filmed this because we did 2 takes, and another one was like me sniffing my armpit or something, but I was like, I want to pull something on my belly button and then smell it. So this is me while Jimmy's giving a thing, and then I react to what I pulled out of my belly button. This is called improv, by the way, meaning it's a prop. It's imaginary belly button stink. I didn't actually stick my fingers in there deep, although I would do that. Who wouldn't? Who hasn't? You ever smell?
iterations
Watch. Here we go. Watch. This is just great acting
over the years. I was a long time
and then you look at it. That's what you don't go. Oh, you go, and then you look at it.
paying member
That's when I remember that. That was
before I began working for the company in 2013.
blocking out the belly button. Brilliant, isn't it brilliant? Come on. What if it wasn't a belly button? What if it was a third nipple? No, he doesn't. It's not true. It's a regular belly button.
As a video editor and lizard massager, I was on the ground.
That's me with my boyfriend. Marijuana. Loved doing this. I got to do that on screen a bunch, or in that little like pre-roll sort of preview video. And I'd say credit to TYT management. Let me just say something positive. They let marijuana stay there for quite a long time. A lot of companies wouldn't do that. Workers took a lot of pride. I was part of the little crew. I wasn't there when they found them, so I wasn't part of like building the structure, but I got involved with helping them out. You'll notice in my other videos at the Shrimp Squad, I used to work in the pet industry. I used to do fish tanks in a career before the Young Turks because I'm an old man. I'm in my 40s. So I ran an aquarium service. So I sort of had a way with moist boxes. Let's just put it that way. And so I got involved with helping out. They had some bugs flying around that we would get. We had there's all kinds of little nuances. And what a good boy. Marijuana is now in some refuge somewhere. I don't know. I actually think that'd be a wonderful day trip to organize one of these years to go visit Marijuana. We all want to see him. Everybody misses him, I'm sure. And it'd be fun to see if he recognizes us. I bet they do. We don't give enough credit to animals and their memories. I bet that he could go for another old Hank massage.
ground floor of
There's
this
a part I want to
organizing
stop at
drive.
that I'm trying to wait for.
Our efforts began in early summer of 2019, away from the watchful eyes of managers, of course, eventually leading to the first in-person meeting with the IATSE representatives at my apartment one day before work. During that meeting, we felt the long, absent presence of hope.
See, I don't like the way those two shots connect, the zooming and it's just it's not matched quite well enough. I didn't draw the artwork wide enough to get it the way I wanted it after watching it a bunch of times, but you kind of just got to go with what you get. It's fine. It's not bad, but like I like to do velocity matching so that the speed of one zoom is the same as the speed of the cut after it cuts. So like I would like to fix that in the final version. This is a very small detail. If I don't ever fix it, it'll be fine. So little things like that are stuff that kind of bugs me. But I drew everything that you've seen in these is all hand drawn on a computer, either using Photoshop and the mouse or my drawing tablet. Most of this is Photoshop mouse stuff.
And the possibility of one day being respected by our employer. Solidarity was becoming action. It was glorious.
So the sweatpants, the sweatpants, a little bit of early feedback I got was, hey, it might be kind of creepy and weird that you're just standing there in your underwear. Because I had this character from Suck Professor, this Hank guy, as you saw in all the Suck Professor videos. I closed that window. But I just drew him like a while back, and I just drew underwear and then pants and feet and shoes. And it was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Maybe those are his pants. Maybe he just has realistic pants. Maybe he's from another planet. He's a cartoon. We don't know. People always found it kind of funny and weird. It symbolizes my vulnerability, the way I am, kind of, in a sense, a little bit of that innocence thing. But it is creepy. So I took the feedback and I said, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. That would be weird to answer the door wearing underwear. And luckily people do generally think that's underwear, not a diaper. But and so instead I fixed it following the feedback, and made it do this.
Glorious.
So he reaches down and pulls up sweatpants, but this makes the whole thing creepier, because what this means is that he's got his sweatpants bunched up down around his ankles while he's standing there. This means that before this shot, my character pushed the sweatpants down or walks around the apartment with his pants around his ankles, which we've all done. We all know, everybody knows how difficult that is. No human can escape your pants around the ankles, which actually, side note, somebody explained this about the zombie genre, is that all those zombies, as they all get skinny, they don't get fatter, they all lose weight and get skinny. All of them should just be tripping around their pants. They're, maybe eventually crawling out of their pants, I suppose, but there's no way a zombie wearing pants. Don't trust that show. Tell the truth, zombies. That's a great argument, though. When someone said that, I was like, amazing. Unless somebody goes around and tightens up their belt, which would be like an interesting job. But that's what I like about this fix, is that it's funny to me that he's now wearing, because of the fix to pull the sweatpants up, he's got those sweatpants. They're down there around his ankles.
As insiders, we knew Cenk wouldn't like the challenge to his power, but nobody expected the guy who built a career telling a camera he supported worker rights to reject a union.
Here, I like this shot.
Refusing was a total surprise, but the conspiracy charges were simply beyond imagination. All right, come on, let's hop into our 2012 Prius with leather seats and travel back to the day it all hit the fan. February 21st, 2020.
I love that. I love the way that wraps. You hear the Willy Wonka music. Ding, ding, ding. Let's go back 10 seconds.
Prius with leather seats and travel back.
More than that, 10 more. I did a bunch of effort to try to match up Gene Wilder's mouth right here. It doesn't quite fit, and it's I was wasting time being like, I wanted his O shape to fit precisely, but I think it's fine. I obviously made a choice at some point, but I love that the way that I fold into that part of the story with the Willy Wonka stuff. Yes, I'm just praising myself here. I'm also seeing flaws that I will not tell you about, but I think this is a really well edited thing. If I really hope that people watch it and they go, oh my God, it's 46 minutes of the film, but it did not feel like 45 minutes. It's a gigantic request to ask somebody to watch a 45-minute video, 46-minute video. And I'm very confident, of course, not for everybody, but I'm very confident that it does not feel that much. It might feel long. It's long, but holds your attention. And my hope, and this is something I want to be true of this movie as well as everything I do after this, because partly what I'm asking for people to do is support my project here to help a guy out, and that you're investing is not the quite right word necessarily here, but that you see potential in the next films that I make, because this is what I'm good at. And with my autistic sensitivities, with my work record, in other words, nobody's going to hire a guy who has a documentary called Tell the Truth, Former Employer. I can do stuff on my own, and I can make use of this skill. And I'm really just asking people to consider that that's also part of what we're doing with this project, is getting me on the other side of it, because this has not been good for my health, man. It's been fucking horrible. I'm only alive because of my roommate and my dad. So they've held my shitty, stupid ass up, and Cenk is, it's not okay that Cenk gets away with lying to everybody about this. It's not okay that he got to erase his workers' story. It's not okay that he got to do the injustice of the employment conditions that drove us to unionize, and then the bullying that he's desperate to avoid any accountability for. So at least he's already squirming. At least Jubilee made him squirm. So we've got Hansi, we've got generational change, even though that was a friendly thing. We got Francesca brought up my name. This is out of order. Hansi, Francesca, generational revolutionary change, and now we got Jubilee. Who's going to be next? Kyle Kalinske, he's in the film. Joe Rogan, he's in the film. Ken Burns, not in the film. I should have tilted my head the other way. Not in the film. One more time through this, and then we'll be done.
Refusing was a total surprise, but the conspiracy charges were simply beyond imagination. All right, come on, let's hop into our 2012 Prius with leather seats and travel back to the day it all hit the fan. February 21st, 2020.
Now we're in it.
The first cell.
As I was saying, the thing I want to accomplish or feeling of is with a film that I make, or one of these type of things, is I want people to trust my story. Like, I want it to, I'm talking now not necessarily as a pissed off leftist in a trillion universe sized rage, trying to call upon the forces of solidarity to demand justice from a capitalist. This is more the aspiring artist, and there's some ego here too, but I want it to be like you're on a chocolate river. Just, you're in Hank's chocolate river. Welcome to the ride. And yes, if you extend that metaphor to the Willy Wonka universe, you'll probably end up dead or somehow horrible. It's the bad metaphor, but you're on the chocolate river. Doesn't chocolate river sound nice? In other words, I want it to feel like I don't care what story I'm really watching. I mean, I'm going to give you interesting stuff, but this guy tells a story in a way that I trust that he's taking me somewhere, and it's going to have some curves, and I can't always predict it, but it's a safe, because I'm in this immaculately beautiful chocolate boat, and we get to sip on candy out of candy straws and then eat the cup, and then you can pick a flower and eat the flower. But I, for some reason, chocolate river is the operative phrase here that I'm playing around with, because let me take you on the chocolate river ride. Okay. Go click on the goddamn film and watch it. If you're inspired to pay and help me out, I have so much debt and I just need to finish it. I got to get this wretched baby out of my womb. And we're going to see more times, more chances. Like, something tells me we're going to see this guy on my podcast one of these days. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. Let's just call that another prediction. That Cenk is going to bullshit and lie and gaslight and pretend like he's the victim in this story, when he's the one who did the bullying. He's the one who went out of his way to hurt his own workers, because union busting only works because it hurts people. It causes psychological and material stress and harm. If it didn't hurt people, it wouldn't be used by the bosses. They wouldn't invest in it. They wouldn't have these expensive union busting law firms that they hire. Cenk hired 2 of them. So we're going to see more meltdowns, more of this. And it's amazing that it's going to be on Jubilee here pretty soon, because I hope it draws a lot of attention. And, you know, let's try to make this one of the center points of this whole cycle of TYT of Cenk getting called out of Jubilee stuff, because I'm sure there'll be other interesting moments from this whole thing too. Let's watch it one more time, then I'll say goodbye.
It's firing people when you rejected a union at your company and fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. You could say that if you like.
That is true. Look it up.
Fine. So since you smeared me, let's explain.
Actually, I think I saw that guy on the Michael Burns podcast. The guy used to do Wisecrack. I think he had that guy on to interview him.
You could say that if you like.
They get the.
It's true. Look it up.
Look, he looks at the camera. Sorry, I just got to go back.
And fired somebody for organizing.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. You could say that if you like.
That is true.
That is true. Look it up. See, he knows where the cameras are. This is great. And then, fine, since you smeared me, let's have a conversation about who smeared who. Cenk. Cenk has to prove that we lied to those journalists in the articles. Cenk has to prove that we fabricated the emails that prove that we had communication with IATSE, both during the second attempt and during the first attempt, which started 18 months before Cenk filed his papers to run for Congress. Almost 2 years before the union came forward. Cenk smeared his own workers. Cenk went out of his way to smear his own workers, and Anna Kasparian fucking helped him.
Look it up.
Fine. So since you smeared me, let's explain. Claim number one is that.
Explain. Let's hear it. So, all right, guys.